Okay, over the next couple of tutorials, we're just going to look at some junctions between floors and walls and roofs. Sometimes you want these to display in certain ways. At the moment, this one is cleaning up with this basic generic wall, cleaning up with this more detailed brick and steelwork wall. It's cleaning up to that cavity gap here. So when you look at it in 3D, this is how it is going to look. There's a couple of things you can do here in terms of tidying up this to a way that you want it to look. Number one, simple one here, that little dot there, you can actually right click on it and go disallow join, and then just drag that back as needed. We can unjoin elements. This one, I'm just going to bring this across, and here I'm going to butt that up against that wall, and then go back to our 3D view, and that will give us that sort of desired effect. Now there may be some issues here where you've got like plasterboard and stuff. We're going to have to do something clever with that plasterboard to take it back. Another thing you could do here with this wall is you could go to the create tab and go create parts. So if I hit that, just go OK. It's going to tell me geometry might be accurate. That might be because of that, because of the splits and reveals. That it might not like that, but we can still use this function. So here I can select each individual element, and here I have that bit of plasterboard. I can turn on show shape handles, and then just grab that plasterboard and let's see, it didn't seem to like that. Let me just drag that back. Okay, in this case it is not liking it, and I'm able to move shape offsets. Okay, let me just do this with a another wall. So if you do need to get rid of these parts, you can select them. Oh, by the way, if they're not displaying, you need to have here parts visibility, show parts, if anybody following along. That's parts original, that's show parts, that's show both. You can actually just delete them out. So we'll just delete them out here. That's fine. All associated parts are deleted. Now we've just got back to the wall. There's other ways to do things here, but I'm just doing it pretty simple. So let me just change that wall just to the other one we have, because this one doesn't have the sweeps and reveals. This one should work a little bit better. And again, just a reminder on how to add a item here. So I'm just going to move this down to the bottom, make it a finish, and make it 10 mil just to represent plasterboard. Excuse me. Right, here's our plasterboard. So what I did here again is go to create parts. Okay, it's telling me the same thing. Again, maybe it's not the best way to do this, so let me just drag that back, see if it likes it. How about that? Okay, doesn't tend to like it, but sometimes it does work. So let me just go here and just bring that up in the section elevational view, and it was over here on the right. Here we had that wall with those shapes. Now I'm just wondering whether it's something to do with items down the bottom here, or it could be to do with the... Okay, that did it. So I think it might have been some warnings around the geometry here, but look, it's done it anyway. So you can see here now we've got the plasterboard in the right location. Sometimes it's good not to ignore those warnings, but for the sake of this tutorial, we'll just keep it as is. There's probably just some issues with how everything's joining up here. And again, it could be something to do with this wall here, for example. There may be some issues here because I haven't done the whole thing. So that's just something that might happen as you go through and do this. Yeah, there's a few little junctions that need to be fixed up here with when you go to show the shape handles. So that's one way to do a wall cleanup. The basic way to do it though, over here, is to just get rid of some of these, is to look at this junction, and I'll just make it a bit more colorful just to show you how everything's going together, is to use some of the tools in the modifier. So we have up here, we've got tools for wall joins. There's also ones for beams and columns, joins for roofs, splitting faces of objects, painting on materials, and then demolishing objects as well. So again, they could relate to phasing. So if you want to go and say this is going to be demolished, let's see if this, oops, not that one, didn't like that, head 9, let's grab the right thing, back to that one, there we go, there's something that could be demolished there as well. So I did show some basic phasing stuff, but this might be a simpler tool for you to use if you wanted to show things that need to be demolished before you start building. Okay, so the one we want to do is look at the wall join. So we'll hit that, and we'll go and hover over the junction. So we'll do this one, and it's going to give us options on how it's going to join it together. So it's doing a butt join or a miter join or squaring off. So we'll just go next, and you see here it's filtering through the options for that butt join. Then you can go to miter. That's about all you get for the miter, and then there is square off here as well. So pretty much the same as the butt joint, and then you could clean the join, don't clean the join. Got too much there. And then there's allow join and disallow join. So this could work for other parts of the project where you want to join things up. You can use this to do some automatic configuration of wall joints. Works well for angled walls joining. So instead of having a sharp point at the end there, you can actually square it off in different ways. So that's a handy tool just to be aware of. The other one I just showed was how you could break it up with parts and get a little bit more accurate about how everything goes together here. But at the same time, it can be just a little more fiddly. You've got to sort of consider everything a bit more. Now there are different ways you can make walls, different ways you can break everything up. Just going back to this wall here, so I haven't done divided parts here. A couple of things just to note. With that wall, we can go to edit type, and we can go into the structure, and when we bring up our preview tool here, there's a few other items that we can bring up. These are all grayed out at the moment, but we can go to section to bring these up, and instead of doing divided parts for that, I can go and use split region. So the split region can be a little bit fiddly. So what we've got here is maybe part of the wall here that's below ground, or we want to have it like a concrete block work. We can go and add a split region. So you go in here and it's going to cut, so we'll just take it all the way up to a certain point, and at the moment that's at 935. You don't want to escape here, you hit modify, and then you're getting close to that, and then this little arrow will show, and that's when you can flex it. It's not the most intuitive, user-friendly tool, but that's how you do it. So at the moment my block work will go 600 underground. I don't want the brickwork to go underground. That may start maybe 100 mil off the ground, so I'll make this about 700 for example, maybe 750, and that's going to create the height that I want. Now with this I need to add that blockwork material, so up here in finish I'm going to go and insert, and for that particular finish I'm just going to put back on finish 1 and find some masonry units, or if I just type in block, you can see there's concrete masonry units, and those ones I've used this once earlier for some external paver slabs, so I'll just leave it on this one. Just to change the pattern, I'm going to make it look like this one, masonry concrete block, and again, If you want to, you can change the color. Go OK. You'll notice that the other one has gone into a variable here by default by adding this extra finish. Now, with that, we want to assign layers. So we've got this bit here still selected. Assign layers. That should grab it. And now we have the inherit thickness showing here. This one is below, and we have our 750. So once this is going down to the footings, which we'll show shortly, this will be just block work underground. So we'll go OK, and let's see how this has worked. Again, you've got to go one step at a time. Again, it can be a little bit fiddly, but here are the results. So that's a nice way to quickly add a split between the wall with different materials, and we'll just finish up with adding some footings here, for example. So again, this one I'm going to delete all these elements. If I want to get rid of them all at once, I can just go and grab all that, and over here is a filter, and I can just get rid of those parts because they're a little bit messy. Parts, do work in certain types of ways. It's still there. There we go. That one's cleaned up, and again, I can go and match those properties there just to get them looking the same. So from here, I just want to add a footing. I'll clean up this wall in a second. I want to add a footing. So in the architecture, you're not going to see the footings. It's part of the structure. Structure engineer will recommend the size of the wall footing. Here, by default, there's some wall footings already loaded in, 300 by 600 by 300. There's some other ones that could be bigger or smaller. So we'll just do a bearing footing. And you can go and select these items. So I could go and tab to grab all those walls. And now that's gone and added the footings for me. So that's a nice handy tool. So all the weight of those walls has been picked up. Maybe not all of them, just because some weren't joined. You can see this, these ones here. Need to add just that. And that will now pick up the weight of the wall. Now it's just because I haven't done all the join conditions, but really simple way to add some footings to your design here, and of course they're going to be showing in the section. So here we go, our block work, our brickwork above, the block work going a little bit above the actual ground level, and then all of this will be sitting underground. Again, you could do the same thing here for the internal part. You could split this up as well, so just block work all underground, then it starts with brickwork and stuff, all depending on your construction methodology. So that was just the next part on walls.